Jara, I need you to do the right thing.
Star Trek Resurgence. Everything we know. Many new video game announcements like Sonic Frontiers were made at the 2021 Game Awards, but one particularly has fans excited. Dramatic Labs will create Star Trek Resurgence, an immersive narrative-driven game based on the well-known science fiction series. Several former members of the renowned Telltale game studio, which created popular narrative-based games including Batman, the Telltale series, The Walking Dead, the Telltale series, and The Wolf Among Us, among others, make up the production team. Without a doubt, Dramatic Labs' debut production, Star Trek Resurgence, is ambitious. The game will have a cast of new Star Trek series characters, including recognizable faces the fanbase is already familiar with and adores, like Spock. The release date, trailer, and several glimpses into the game's story were all included at the game's presentation at the Game Awards. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere, see new worlds, look up at a sky no one's ever seen.
Everything we know about the upcoming game. Resurgence is set a few years following Nemesis, the final movie, but it also has strong The Next Generation undertones. Now that people are aware of it, a Telltale-style adventure looks to be the ideal model for Star Trek. The best TV programs feature characters working together to solve issues, confronting personal flaws, or delving into some oddball science fiction mystery. Character conflict, a ton of conversation, and puzzle solving. You've got an adventurous game there. The release of Star Trek Resurgence couldn't have arrived soon enough. 9 years have passed since the last conventional single-player Star Trek game, and the new Star Trek television series have been uneven. Star Trek Resurgence, on the other hand, harkens back to a time while the series was intelligent, considerate, and maybe a little predictable. Comfort food for the weary sci-fi fan. It's the first title in a long time that, to put it simply, truly seems like Star Trek. Simply strolling, talking, and periodically hitting buttons is the gameplay. The demo was pretty shaky for many and had a number of errors and graphic abnormalities, one of which completely blacked out the display while two characters were speaking. If you've ever played an adventure game from Telltale, you'll know exactly what to anticipate. That makes sense considering how many of Dramatic Labs' employees have worked on Telltale games before. Even if you've never played a Telltale game, Star Trek Resurgence gameplay is really simple to describe. It is an adventure game that emphasizes dialogue and storyline options. The main focus of gameplay is attending to what other people say and replying in a finite amount of time. You'll occasionally roam around or tackle easy tasks. Over time, how you speak will affect how other individuals respond to you, and your decisions can affect how the plot develops. You must stick with your decision. There is no easy way to save and start over. In actuality, Star Trek Resurgence plays very much like an episode of the television series, but one wherein you're in charge. Under the close supervision of the Vulcan Lieutenant Commander Chovak, you can assume control of Carter Diaz, an enlisted engineer on the USS Resolute. At the start of the demo, you had three options when Chovak chastised Diaz for arriving at his post almost late: defuse the situation, accept responsibility, or maintain your position, deciding to remind the logical officer that he was, in fact, on time, despite his reluctance to admit it. You can now swap to Jara Rydak, the Resolute's new first officer, a short while later. Rydak finds herself in a classic Star Trek predicament: two sentient races coexisting on the same planet, each believing it was entitled to exclusive use of a precious resource. Her captain and ambassador Spock joined her for assistance, but the leaders of both species were incredibly curious to hear what Rydak had to say. Viewers are given a preview of Star Trek Resurgence's plot, gameplay, and characters in the teaser. Players will encounter these people as they explore the final frontier. Before it ends, the trailer reveals its most important character, Leonard Nimoy's likeness of Mr. Spock, who played the position in the original series. Although Nimoy tragically passed away in 2015, seeing him in the trailer probably gave Trek fans around the world instant goosebumps. By including Spock, the game is further established as a canonical installment of Star Trek rather than a haphazard spin-off. The year 2380 is the setting for Star Trek Resurgence, which comes right after Star Trek The Next Generation. Carter Diaz and Jara Rydak are the main characters in the game's narrative, which follows them as they work to unravel unravel a terrible mystery involving two alien races on the verge of war. Star Trek Resurgence is described as a narrative adventure game with conversational choices, relationship building, and exploration on the game's official website. The majority of the game will consist of choices, much as previous games from Telltale Games. Given that Telltale once hired more than 20 people at Dramatic Labs, this approach seems reasonable. There isn't a set release date for Star Trek Resurgence as of yet. There is a time period, nevertheless, that Trekkies should be aware of. The official video for Star Trek Resurgence has verified that the game's release date is presently slated for the spring of 2022. Gamers can anticipate the game's release to occur after March, assuming no unexpected issues arise during development. Thus, Resurgence might debut anytime between the end of Q1 and the beginning of Q2. Star Trek Resurgence will eventually be released on a variety of platforms over several generations, including the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Epic Game Store on PC. In general, players of all types will be able to enjoy the game. Unfortunately, Nintendo Switch owners will not be able to play the game when it releases and must instead wait for a port to come out. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember, so I would be honored to become a captain someday.